Hello and welcome back to The Independent Pianist. I'm your host, Cole, and today we have the final piece from Debussy's Estampes. Please be sure to check out the other two videos of the other two pieces from Estampes, Pagodes and La soirée d'Englanade, if you want to hear my analysis of the other movements. So as I mentioned in the previous videos on those other two pieces, Estampes are prints. And Debussy loved prints. He loved artwork, especially of a exotic provenance. So he had many Japanese prints, for example, which he loved very much. And the first two pieces in this set, of course, take us to what for Debussy were distant lands, the Far East, and also Spain. But in this piece, we're quite close to home. We're in France, and we can tell that this piece is about France very clearly because Debussy uses two very well-known children's songs as the basis for his own melodies. So the two songs are Dodo, l'enfant do, or Sleep, Child, Sleep, and Nous n'irons plus au bois, or We're not going to the woods anymore. So here's a rendering of Dodo l'enfant do. And here's how Nous irons plus au bois goes. Now, I don't mean to suggest that Debussy literally transcribes these folk tunes in the manner of Bartók or Granger, but instead he uses snippets from them to form his own melodies. So he's particularly interested in this snippet from Dodo. This is oftentimes heard in the minor in the actual piece. And also this snippet from Nous n'irons plus. The really funny thing about this piece is that Debussy seems to have gotten his melodies backwards. He uses the lullaby as the basis for the opening, and the opening is pretty clearly a depiction of a rainstorm with furious pelting raindrops, very common in the north of France. On the other hand, he uses Nous n'irons pas, which is usually sung in a pretty upbeat kind of dancey way, as the basis for the seemingly slower middle section. To me, this middle section seems exactly like a child daydreaming as they look out the window onto the storm-swept garden. By the way, I say that this section is only seemingly slower because Debussy works a little compositional magic here. He slows the rate of the accompaniment from 16th notes to triplet 8th notes, but he calls for the exact same tempo. So this creates a written-in retardation of tempo. So it's a bonus for the pianist. You don't have to do anything but play in time, but the music feels like it's in a totally different tempo. It's great when composers help us out like that. The form of this piece is quite unusual. It's another experiment of Debussy's. The overall outline is fairly simple. It's a fast and loud first section, slow and soft middle section, and then again fast and loud at the end. So that gives the basic outline of a ternary form, an ABA, which is one of the most common forms in music history up to the present day. But usually when you have a ternary form, the A sections on the outside will have their own melody, and the B section will have a different melody. And they don't really mix usually. So just think of something like a minuet and trio or a scherzo and trio from a classical composer like Mozart or Beethoven. What Debussy does here is more through composed. The opening section is entirely based on this free variant of Dodo l'enfant do. The middle section introduces the dreamy version of Nous n'irons plus. But we also hear Dodo again in a kind of slightly unsettling form in the left hand. So at this point, Debussy is already kind of combining the two themes together to create something new. Then afterwards, we get this big build up to a downpour. And after that, the sun seems to come out. We go back to 16th notes and a louder dynamic. And at the end, in this last section, both of these folk tunes alternate back and forth. So we get Nous n'irons plus now becomes very upbeat and sunny like this. The other tune, Dodo l'enfant, is now in a major key. And the piece ends with a very clever last reference to the quotation that opened the piece, Dodo l'enfant do. And I think most people who play this piece might miss this quotation, so I wanted to point it out. These last three bars, if you look at the quarter note triplet, and then at the very last note of the piece, you'll see that it's still outlining this same motive with the fourth leap from Dodo. So thank you for watching. Please enjoy the complete performance of this short but very fun little piece. Please check out the other videos in this series as well. I have linked them in the description box if you're interested in doing that. And please support the channel by clicking the like and subscribe buttons in YouTube and becoming a patron at www.patreon.com/independent pianist if you can. All your donations are immeasurably helpful in allowing me to continue with this channel, so thank you very much to all my current patrons. And I will see you all next week for some more conversation and great music, but until then, please take care, stay safe, and keep practicing.